What's going on, everybody? So, slightly different video for today. We're actually going to be going over the greatest tool alive, in my opinion, which of course is unusual whales. What this tool is great at is analyzing options flow in a very user-friendly platform. Now, this is a way to really confirm a lot of your options plays by looking at certain expirations, certain strike prices, and just certain premiums being spent on underlying securities to get a census of how large whales are trading certain tickers. Now, of course, to access this tool, you can go to unusualwhales.com. I'll link this in the description below. And if you guys are not a member yet, you can use my discount code DAVE for 5% off. I literally do not do any affiliate links besides Unusual Whales, because it truly is something that I have found a lot of benefits using, and I think a lot of you can use as well. So first of all, what we're going to do once you launch Unusual Whales is come over here to the Flow tab. On the Flow tab, you can select certain tickers by going to this filter section here. So we can actually, for today's video, focus on the S&P 500. As you can see, ticker is SPY. You also can filter if you want to do other tickers as well, like the SPX. You can throw that in there as well, just by using a comma and separating it. Now, the next filter that I do like to play around with is this premium range. So depending on how you're using this, there's a couple different filters I like to use. So if we are on that more of a day trade, swing trade, I would like to use the range of like 25,000. That gives me a pretty good range of, it's not just small $1,000, $5,000 trades. This is more the big boys coming in. Now, I don't have a set one filter meets all of my needs. So a lot of these filters are interchangeable as we move along. So typically I'll use anything from like 25,000 upwards of just about 100,000. And it just gives you different metrics that you can be looking at. How, those moderate trades are going, but also how those large scale trades are going too. Because, I mean, look at this. We got 11.6 million. We got 148,000. There's still large institutions or large whales out there, but this is certainly more of a trade that I would put eyes on just because of the premium being spent on this. Now, again, we can come down here, and the other filter that I will use is days till expiration. Days till expiration is how long the contract lasts. So if it is a day trade, well, we can remove one because we want to see what trades are being opened and closed on that individual day. But if we are swing trading, which simply means we are looking at trades over a longer period of time, this could be anywhere from 2 days to a month. You can change that days till expiration, the DTE, towards 1 because you're not really so concerned on more of those short-term plays that are going on in the market. The other interesting thing, and you can also use specific strikes that you're looking at, certain volume ranges, certain open interest ranges. You can get super granular with the searches that you're using. The other thing that I will use is I toggle on today's trades only. Of course, if you are looking at this every single day, you're not really so concerned about how the flow went yesterday. But if you do want to get a quick feel for how the day is going or how yesterday's day was going, well, filter that off, and then you can get an entire view on the entire options chain for the last couple of days. And as we can see here, now we have a little bit more data that we can sort through, which is always great to have. The more data, the better. Now, that is more how I utilize the generalized flow tab using certain filters, but there is so much more into this, folks. So typically the way I do like to filter this to start off is I like to have different tabs set up. So my first tab open is going to be the pretty much what we just went through using the SPY and the SPX just to get a general consensus of how the overall market is performing. Now, as we can see, yesterday in the market was 114. Today's Saturday. That's when I'm filming this video. And a lot of bullish activity towards the middle of the day. During the morning session, well, it was quite bearish. And, I mean, looking at the charts, and we'll actually jump over here, type in the SPY. we'll even start off here with like a 5-minute chart just to show you guys why this tool is actually something you should all be looking at. This is 114 Friday. So what happens? Middle of the day, we start moving down. But once that options flow actually starts to switch into the bullish direction here in the afternoon, we can see that activity coming in. And what happens? Well, it was a great push into close and actually closed below open today. A lot of calls went in the money. So that's just one example. But what we can also do is go through a lot of various different tabs. So one of my favorites is Intraday Analyst. So what this is looking at is just all the tickers, all the activities, what's going on, and what's the most significant changes that we can be looking at. This really just gives me a look of where the money is flowing in the overall economy. So first of all, we see here the most active chains. What's interesting about this is it gives you, yes, the expiration. So this was a short dated expiration for last week. We can see calls were 172, puts were targeting this 170 area, and we can see volume, open interest, the bid and ask on these selective chains. I mean, it's absolutely great. And of course, guys, you can filter. So if we want to look at the SPY, for example. Oops, that was typo, fat finger. And of course, this chart does come from TradingView, but we can see what the SPY is trading. What's the highest open interest? Where are bulls targeting? Where are the bears targeting? What's the highest open increase and decrease? What was the percentage chain? I mean, it goes so granular with all of this stuff. We also, which is, I believe, a new-ish feature within Unusual Whales, we can actually see price with dark pool volume. I know a lot of traders recently have been really concerned about where trades are going within the dark pool, and, you know, whole different story for that. But just getting a feel for what price, how much sizes are going into this, what are the values going in the dark pool, we can absolutely make a lot of analysts around this. Of course, you do have the SPY Greek flow, giving you what all the Greek data is coming on. We can get a strike by volume over here, so we can see for the SPY, for example, there was a lot of activity around this 458 to 467. Call volume was a little low, and the bears were really certainly in control here, which is why you had that kind of morning dip down to this area where a lot of those bears were targeting. But once we did reach that activity, well, look at, now we have a severe influx of the calls coming in, which is why we had that bullish flow towards the end of the day. Now, there's a lot of things that we can go into. Next, we're actually going to take a look at tickers. So tickers, this is a great way just for a very quick look as to how certain tickers are performing. So for instance, Apple right here for the 1/14/2022 expiration. Did not mean to do that. Sorry, folks. How do I get back? There we are. Now we're back. All right, so we can see the call versus bid ask. Well, a lot of people were slapping the ask. What does that mean? That means people are hungry for those to get into that play. We can see that on the call side. On the put side, it was more of bids being executed for the most part. And you can go through and filter through every single ticker on this plane. But really for ideas, because a lot of people ask, how do you find certain trades and why do you make certain plays? Well, the biggest thing that you're looking for is a lot of activity, because as we know, if there's no activity in a certain play, well, it's probably not going to have the greatest risk-reward ratio, because based on Greeks, based on how options are actually priced and how it makes money, a lot of the times with a simple call or a simple put, you're not going to make a lot of money based on zero movement in the play. So coming down here to the hot chains and tickers tab is a great way to kind of get a feel for where is the activity going on right now. So for instance, we can see that the S&P 500, or the SPY, the ETF that tracks the S&P 500, had a call volume of 6.2 million and a put volume of 4.3 million. So what this is showing is there was a lot more puts in the market than there were on the call side, which is why we did have a little bit of bearish activity. We can see the call volume percentage versus the call premium percentage. And this just gives us a good idea of how, all in all, how the flow looks, if it's bullish or if it's bearish. Now, the greatest thing that I like is the chains tab right here, because it gives a direct look at what certain expirations and strike prices are being targeted with specific volume metrics and open interest. Now, if there's a lot of open interest at a certain expiration and, of course, strike price, well, that's something I would look at and analyze. So the biggest thing and the biggest takeaway you all should have is unusual whales for me personally is not a tool where I see, okay, the SPY is bearish, I'm going to take a put on this. No, it's really what I use to confirm my technical analysis and my overall thesis on how I think a certain play is going to turn. So jumping back to the charts here, we'll actually jump over here to the 30-minute. So the SPY was coming down pretty hard the other day. We got rejected off this top end resistance, which we've had trouble at in the past couple of days. Flow has been bearish, and we did get rejected. So, of course, based on my rejection point, yes, I was bearish at this point in time. Next thing I do, and I go and check, is the flow. How is the flow looking? If it is bearish and we had a lot of puts coming in, the puts outweighed the calls, then that is my second way to be like, okay, this is a great play to get into. But next, what you need to find is, what are you playing here? Are you going to play a put at this strike price right here for like 470? Are you going to do an at the money put? Or are you going to go deep out the money? Because there's a lot of ways that you can use this. But that's exactly when I come back into unusual whales, once I confirm it using my technical analysis, and then look at what chains are specifically having a lot of open interest. As we can see here, 114.2022 was a hot chain based on the open interest, comparatively speaking, down the line. So what was being targeted? Well, it was the 460 put. So going back into our charts, when we were in this area, well, 460 is right here. So just above the gap fill and an overall upward trend that we have been establishing here. So that goes along with my TA. It all makes sense. Puts outweigh the calls. So that to me is a great play all in all. So that's something I would absolutely jump into. So that's just one example of many of how we can utilize the options flow using unusual whales. The other thing too is, let's be honest here, a lot of times the tickers that we look at, such as Apple, Tesla, Amazon, AMC, shout out to my AMC guys out there, they tend to move along with the underlying markets, such as the S&P 500, the triple Qs, the NASDAQ, all of these other sectors out there. So that's why Unusual Whales does it all, guys. Unusual Whales has the sector flow. So when I'm trading a security such as, let's use Apple as example because we just talked about that. Apple is in the technology sector. So if I'm taking a play on Apple, there's a third thing that we can do. Confirm how the underlying sector is performing based on their options flow as well. So what do we see here? Well, the call volume was 5.3 mil. Put was 3.7. So all in all, it was pretty bullish. Excuse me. Call volume was 58% versus the call premiums being spent was about 44.29. So if Apple has a great technical setup onto the bullish side coming off a decline, hit some resistance, well, it looks like a good play. What are we going to do? We're going to first analyze the options flow to confirm our technical analysis, making sure we're not getting into a trap position. Okay, options flow looks good. Next thing, what are we going to do? We're going to go into the sectors flow. Sectors flow looks great. Okay, now that's three things that we can confirm that all look good, that really confirm our personal thesis on entering a play. Now, once we do that, we look for certain expirations and certain strike prices that are being targeted by the large whales. That's great. So that is really kind of the 4-step thesis that I use to confirm all of the plays before getting into it. That is really the greatest thing that you can do, because a lot of times, guys, I see people on Twitter, people on Discord chats just giving you plays. Hey, take a, I don't know, let's say a SPY call for next week's expiration at whatever dollars. Well, that's great. But the problem a lot of new traders face is they just jump in because someone told them to. Now, wouldn't it be absolutely amazing to be able to look at a play, confirm it yourself, and have a certain set of guidelines that you can use to become a successful trader without the help of anyone? Well, that's going to help you in many ways. Because A, you can pick out your own plays. But B, you know why you're in that play, what price point you got in, and where you think you're about to exit. Now, we can talk about exits really quick because once you do enter the play, yeah, you can see the play go up hundreds of % if it's a really great play. But when do you exit? Because that's a problem many people have. So what I would be doing once I do jump into a play, let's say we jumped into that Apple contract because things look good. Well, and here we are. So what I'm going to be doing is having the live flow feed up. That is showing me what plays are coming in, what contracts are coming in. So if we see this bullish influx right here, well, that's great. I'm riding that 100%. But once you start to get a mix of bearish activity coming in, and we're not worried about bearish activity for, let's say, an expiration in February, that's really not going to change things too much. But if we start to see some more short-dated expirations come in, well, that's an early sign of a reversal incoming. Specifically, before you get into that play, what do you want to do? Well, you want to look and see, are we coming up on any resistance lines? If there is an area of resistance coming up and you see bearish activity inflowing, it would be a good idea to get out of that play, or at least hedge against that position, which that's a topic for a different video. But if we are coming up to, let's say, this resistance level here at 175.93, well, if that bullish inflow is still coming, well, it's a signalizer of, you know what, there could be some upside potential left into this. Now, of course, guys, you always want to take profits in a play. Always take your profits, get out, do your thing, and everyone's going to have a different way of doing that. I mean, some people are a little bit more riskier, and that's totally fine. But some people want that solid 15, 20% on a daily basis. Once you get that, you get that. But with unusual whales, it really is just a good way of saying, how's the flow looking? What are big whales doing? And let's use that, because let's not change the game. Let's simply go with what is working. So I know there was a lot covered in today's video. I just wanted to give you a quick look on how I use the options flow in a daily basis, just to pick certain stocks, see what's trending, see how indices are doing, and then put it all together to become a successful trader in the market. So I'll be honest with you, this is literally the only tool that I use for options flow and to pick certain expirations and tickers. Highly urge you to at least give this a quick look. Pricing for this, well, you can actually go with a free version, but I do believe that everything is delayed a little bit. It does give access to the public Discord, which is something that is great for starters getting into this. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, I personally pay for the the $42 a month version. I said virgin, Jesus. Version, which is live options feed, live options profit calculator. You get news coming in. You know, what's going on? Is Tesla missing its delivery day? Are they under protection? Whatever it may be. You get alerts, which I'll discuss in another video, how to set up your alerts. Mobile applications, which is great, guys. Having your phone, just seeing alerts come in for those who are working throughout the day or just don't want to stare at a freaking screen all day. Can't blame you on that. So I'll personally highly suggest the $42 a month. You get so much more from just $32 a month, so totally worth it. But you know what, guys? If you are interested in just trying it, getting a feel for how to use options for your everyday trades, try out the free version. Not a bad way to start off. And I promise you, after seeing this and seeing the results in a couple weeks' time, you're going to be jumping over this. Typically, my first trade will pay for this entire monthly subscription. So, Anyways, guys, that's all that we have for Unusual Whales. Just a quick high-level overview of the platform and everything about them. But if you have questions, leave a comment in the description below. I will, in the future, be giving more of live demos on how I'm utilizing this, how I'm going into plays. But that will be, of course, like I said, for another video. All right, all. Hope you enjoy the weekend, or whenever you're watching this, hope you enjoy the day. Happy thoughts. Good luck, traders. Peace out.